What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Monday, January 6th to all of you. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Betting with the Bag. We have a big card to break down. 4 NHL games, 9 NBA games. I think about 18 NCAA basketball games for Maxwell Smart to hammer when he joins us later in the show. And Teddy Covers will be coming in about 30 minutes to talk NBA and to also talk bowl season, because we have 2 more bowl games, one going on tonight, and then the big one a week from today. We have NFL playoffs to talk about, everything that we saw through Wild Card Weekend. Unders continue to cash like every year in Wild Card Weekend. The road dogs continue to cover on Wild Card. It's uncanny how these trends continue. I'm so excited to be working with you. It's Monday. Everybody at their job hating life, but not us, because we get to cap a new week of action. And Friday, I had a bad day. Friday, lost all 3 of my NBA bets, lost my NHL bet, went 1-2 in college basketball. I got a little bit of it back with the Sharks on Saturday. Thank God I didn't take them on Sunday. I came so close to the back-to-back 1 o'clock games, and I stayed off of them. I don't know if you watched that Sharks-Capitals game, but they were up 3-2. Caps pulled their goalie. Sharks made it 4-2 with a minute left. And then the Caps scored with 40 seconds left and 20 seconds left with the empty net, and then won in overtime. I would have lost my mind had I made a move. Shout out to Nilo in the house. Says, yo, Jimmy Cash, Juvie winner. And first goal, Ronaldo, paid 3-1. Nice job. Both teams scored. Bologna game. That Cash, great start. Love it. Nick Arcuri in the house. We got Chevy Bra ready to get to work. Paul Costa, Reese, Phil 9. I like starting a Monday saying Phil 9 in my chat. We got Jimmy Gomez in the house. Good morning, family. Let's make it a blessed day and get this money. Joe and Nisi ready to get to work. Stephen Dollery, Ron Lofton, Deer Slayer, Ski, Mitch Bruner, Ilya Katz, Rye Cape, Zombie Pie, Jeff Joseph's nailed all unders in NFL. I mean, it's every year, Jeff. And wow, it's just a great job hammering that. Great job. Ilya Katz, Omega Capper, unbelievable. Canas, Cat, Series, Business, Reese, Alex Simeon, Astute Chaos, Von Polo, Silver Malco, Matt Randall says, damn, it feels good to be back in the swing of things with all of you. Glad that you're over that flu, Matt Randall. Great to have you back, which means a taint play of the day will be coming soon, coming shortly. Dominic Zappia ready to get to work. We got Dominic Zappia ready to hustle. And Americ AM says, great weekend, crappy morning. BT Terrell Miller says, thanks, Russell Wilson, for paying my bills today. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Our guy, Nasty Nate, ready to work. All right, I love it. We got Slugger, Cards for Life, says Lechery. Lechery's nice. The Game 20, Prince of the City, says, I'm just here for a few minutes to troll for a few minutes. Fly, Eagles fly. Mark Unkefer, I love it. All right. Michael Custodio, I got to get these names right. Custodio. Michael Custodio in the house. Shadow, Bob Berube. All right, great group. Let's get to work. We're going to start with these 4 NHL games. I'm going to get through as much of the NBA card as I possibly can. Then Teddy Covers will join us. We'll talk NBA, we'll talk college basketball, we'll talk college football, and we'll talk a little bit about what he feels are opportunities, angles come division week here in NFL. And then Maxwell Smart will break down each and every game on this college basketball card. There's 23 Panks. There's Dan Kelly. Nuke Worker says, what up, Jimmy? Darlington Nuclear is listening. Shout out to everybody at Darlington Nuclear and our guy, Nuke Worker. A. Hilly. Ron Lofton liking the Booker points. Oh, it said Booker points over prop hits once again. Yeah, it just feels like I went under with the Trae Young prop on Friday, under 26.5, and he ended up with 28. He didn't score a point in the first quarter. Thought I was in business. All right, let's get to work. I've already made 4 bets in NHL, and I really like them. I like them very much. I like them very much. And America says, next week UFC is back. Am I just sending in a breakdown since there's no afternoon shows anymore? And America, no, we got to make time for you. We got to make time for you live on the show. I know we're only doing one show a day now, but we'll figure out how to make time for you because you deserve it, my friend. Okay, Slugger says lechery is the autofull derivative, an active verb form of leche. God, that's nice stuff. Slugger cards for life. I mean, starting our Monday with a little bit of intelligence for us. Lechery is the auto full derivative, an active verb form of leche. Slugger cards for life. Let's get into this lechery. That's what we should do. ZZ Dina in the house. Christopher Commentini. Well, I for a second with that under 6.5. By the way, no more full game unders in caps hockey games, but first period unders. They're playing tight in the first, and then they just seem to wear teams down with the constant offensive players that they throw at people. I lost that under 6.5. There were no goals scored in the first period. Lost that on Friday, but I got it back with the Sharks. But still, very disappointing NHL season that I got to turn around. Rafa, can you pop up the NHL record for me? Thank you, my friend. ZZZ Dina says you guys should do a tennis show. Look, Prince of the City. We need Prince of the City on this show breaking down because we know that it starts off right away. So we're going to get Prince of the City here helping us there. One for the money in the house. Dominic says, what's the best sport? You have the greatest capping success. It's NHL. So my first year down here, we had a high watermark of plus 43 units. I gave some of it back in the playoffs. Last year, at the last day of the regular season, we had to hit a high watermark, plus 31 units. And this year, as you see, it's been very disappointing. Dina 45, we need it. We need it. And we're going to be hammering that tennis. So we need Prince of the City. I hope you are listening. College Pro says my Capitals are savage. That was unbelievable, that comeback. Okay, let's start. Oilers, Leafs. Let's pull up the best odds page on the planet, sportsbookreview.com. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with. Oilers, Leafs, the total originally juiced to the under. There's been a 7-cent move to the over. It sits at 6.5. The Leafs opened up at minus 199. They're now at minus 213. Nick Arcuri already locking in the nets. Going to grab that right now. Copy and paste that right now. Bruce Shad says full game line dangerous. Yeah, I was cashing on these Capitals. And another thing that was happening that I was clearly seeing with these Capitals was that if they were ahead 3-1, going to the third, then your under 6.5 was nice. You're under 6 even. But if they're down 3-1, they just have so much offensive talent and come running at you. Thank you, Nilo, my man. We got Amin in the house. Moses Saucedo. And Amin says, I want to win NBA. Help me. We will do that. We will do just that. And love seeing Bruce Shad in the house representing Detroit City. Okay, let's get to work here. With this Oilers-Leafs game, I'm expecting Smith to be back in the lineup. There's Damon Santori, says when Max hops on, we got to put some San Diego State love out there. We should, and we will. Oilers 12-9-2 on the road. They're a team I don't trust. I still have not hedged my Coyotes to win the division bet, and we had a lengthy discussion, Flash and I, on Friday, and I almost pulled the trigger at plus 300. It was plus 310 when I made the Coyotes bet on Live Line, a month ago? Or at least 3 weeks ago, around the Taylor Hall trade. It's a tricky hedge because the Knights have 3 more home games, and then they go on the road for 8 straight games, 9 out of their next 10 after their 3-game homestand. And so you'd probably want to wait till they're done that road trip if you're going to grab the Knights. But then the Oilers and Canucks aren't that good, and they're not good. And the reason why you're getting the plus 300 is because they're playing so well. So 23 Pank says Leafs been scoring. They don't seem to score as much at home as they do on the road. And they're coming off that 3-0 win over the Islanders. And I told you guys, I said on the show, watch Hutchinson step up when he gets his AHL coach who believes in him. Now, I know they didn't have a long history as Hutchinson was a Jet, but I said watch him step up, and he certainly has. But Frederik Andersen will be back between the pipes, we expect here. And he was sick in that last game. He's been sick for Mikko Koskinen. Sorry, was sick. My fault. I have that's Frederik Andersen, and then Mikko Koskinen was sick. Mike Smith looked very good in that win over the Bruins. 4-1 win at Boston on Saturday night. 21 of his 35 saves in the third period. Oilers are 1-0-1 to start a 5-game trip. But these Leafs under Sheldon Keefe, man. Keefe is the first Maple Leafs coach to win 15 games in his first 20. Hap Day was 14-5-1, opened a 1940-41 season. Leafs are 9-0-1 their past 10. They look very good. They missed setting a club record when they failed to score at least 4 goals Saturday, ending that streak at 9 games. And that's what 23 Pank's talking about, Leafs being scoring. Cobra Sports likes Leafs in regulation. There's overtime in the house. Thank you for joining us. Overtime. All that being said, look, Leafs are 11-4-5 at home this year. So they've been winning. But at home this year, 9 times they've lost. Sure, 5 of them, 9 out of 20, 5 of them have come after regulation. But when you're dealing with a minus 200, you have to either take them to win in regulation, which they've only done 11 out of 20 times, or win on the puck line. All that said and done, I don't want the Leafs as this big of a favorite. I don't think the Oilers are a very good team. You put that together, and I move on to the next game. There's Arthur Meade Jr. in the house. Thank you for joining us. Jermel Wright, ready to get to work. All right, let's move on to a game I did make moves on. Jets-Canadiens. I know that the Jets have not been playing very well lately. 2-5-2 over the past 9. But the Canadiens are a mess. And if they think picking up Kovalchuk or trading for Marco Scandella is going to change things around, it's not. Also, they offer us the 6.5 on the total, which I've gone under, because if you look at what the Canadiens were doing before they got decimated with injuries, they're down 4 wingers, Drouin, Byron on the left side, Gallagher and Armia on the right. They're not scoring anymore. The under 6.5 is the best look probably on this whole card to me. So I not only took the under 6.5, but I backed these Winnipeg Jets. Let's pull up exactly what I got because I made these bets earlier and didn't put them on my worksheet. Let's pull them up right now. This is my action here with the Winnipeg Jets. I got the Jets at plus 130. That was available at 5 dimes. I bet it at 125. And I got the under 6.5 at minus 115. That was available at Pinnacle. There's Ickschnizzle in the house. Thomas Kearns had an awful week in NFL. Need some NBA picks today. Any help will do. We're going to be hammering this NBA card. 23 Pank says Jets killed me the other night. Dan Kelly, a little football talk. I'm going to copy and paste this right now. Okay, copy and paste this right now. And take a look when we break down NFL. I look at this Habs squad. Now, I've been saying it for a couple years. I think they're easy to play against. And then if you take out guys like Brendan Gallagher, the straw that stirs the drink, you take out Paul Byron, a very accountable forward who can score but is accountable defensively. 23 Panks. I think the under 6.5 is absolutely glorious. Bleds W says, what up, Jimmy? Jets is my favorite bet on the card today. Bleds W, I'm on it as well. NHL Parlay Bagger says, I'm riding with the 49ers this week. Yes, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to bet it at this point. NHL Parlay Bagger. But I'm going to start betting the Niners and just roll it over. Losing the Saints futures hurts me. It leaves me with the Chiefs futures. And then I have a small stake in Flash's Texans futures. Small stake there. Look, the way I see this, the Jets have handled losing all the defensemen before the season started. And they have very, very strong forwards. They've always had excellent forwards. I like that they've got their road trip started with a 3-2 loss in Minnesota. I like that. They 4-game road trip. They start on Saturday night with a 3-2 loss. They get to go in to Montreal. Who doesn't want to play in the Bell Center? So all that said and done, I doubled up on this game. Under 6.5. I love that look. That's probably my favorite look on the card. And the Jets on the money line. Both loving, both loving, both. All right. Let's keep rolling. Next up, Avalanche Islanders. I have not made a move on this yet. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with. Avalanche opened up at minus 111. Now they're at minus 127. A 16-cent move towards them. This total was previously juiced to the over 5.5 up to minus 118. It's come back 8 cents, but it's still at 5.5. And Lamont Williams, did I miss it? I must have missed it. Where is two-team parlay for Lamont Williams? There we go. Georgia State and West Virginia both on the money line. I will copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing. When Lamont Williams is not in the chat, we have a lot of cappers come in and go, what is Lamont up to? What is Lamont playing? Thomas Curran, thank you so much for joining us. Rez Mob, the team is coming together. Let's go back to this Avalanche. Look, when I see the Islanders as a home dog, it makes me want to back them. I do not want to get in the way of the Avalanche, but the Avalanche closed December by losing 6 of their last 8 games. And not only that, but the Islanders, both of these teams were unbelievable to start the season, and they've both fallen off. The Islanders are 9-9 since their huge point streak. The Avalanche are feeling good about themselves. 5-2 win over the Devils. That came on the heels of beating the Blues 7-3 on Thursday night. Those are their first back-to-back wins since December 13th. You know, I'm looking at this market move towards the Avalanche, and it's making the Islanders more appealing, but that doesn't mean I am going to make a move. Buck Nasty in the house, my guy Buck Nasty. Party with Buck Nasty in Los Angeles and Costa Rica. Buck Nasty, my guy. Avalanche Islanders, I'm not making a move at this point. Jackets Kings, double up spot for me again. I see these Jackets. Yes, Lamont Williams says I work and now no late show. Yes, I am. I apologize. I apologize for that. And Junior Smitchum says I'm one of the guys backing the Avalanche. Look, I get why you are. So I've been watching the Jackets very closely, and I bet against them on Saturday with the Sharks. And I look at this team with their injuries at forward, and there are a ton of them. And all I see them is Merzlikins has been fine, but it's Seth Jones, who's very good, and Zach Werenski may be a future Norris Trophy winner. He's that incredible. They have this defensive pairing that's absolutely spectacular. They have a big team that is accountable defensively. They're going to continue to give us unders. And I think they're going to start losing. I know they're coming off a 12-game point streak, and I picked the spot where that stopped. But I think they are going to start losing. Yeah, Prince of the City, I feel you. But we need you, Prince of the City. We need you. We need a tennis expert on the show, and we'd like that to be you, my friend. Paul Costa says Varlamov revenge spot. I like the way they've gone to Varlamov as their number one. I like that they picked him over Thomas Greiss. I feel like that. I think this is a tough game, and there's 4 games on the card, and often with these smaller cards, there's not a lot I like. I've doubled up on 2 of these games, so I don't need to kind of force it or push it. Let's talk about this spot here. Jackets Kings. So Jackets have their 12-game point streak start. This is the first of a back-to-back. They face the Ducks tomorrow. They get Bemstrom back, which will help offensively. But they lose another defenseman. They lose Dean Kukan. Look, this Kings team is a tough team and a veteran team, and they know exactly what to do. You take your stick, you put 2 hands on it, and you slash Werenski in the ankle. Kings have lost 5 of their last 7 games, but they get Alec Martinez back from injury. They lose 4-1 at home to Nashville. But, and this is a big but to me, they were in that game till very late in the third period. There's Dat Fire TV, Cash Big off the Seattle Under. Great job. There's Dave Berkey in the house. We got Dave Burke ready to get to work. So I've doubled up on these 2 games. Yes, I should have waited. Because money keeps coming in on Columbus. I actually thought that money would stop at some point. But I should have waited. I'm on the Kings. I'm on the under 5.5. There's been no movement on that under 5.5. There was slight movement because it went down to the under 5.5 went down to minus 126. A Pinnacle went up to minus 121. It's back at minus 123. I've doubled up on these 2 spots. And Alex Ramirez, Spidey, play of the day, Kings money line. I love it. I absolutely love it. Going to copy and paste that right now. All right. I love seeing that. I'm on the Kings as well. And I think it's time for them to start losing. The Jackets start losing. Dave Burks has been taking such a beating from blackjack. I feel like one of those senior citizens in the casino wearing a diaper. Stop playing blackjack. That's what I would do. I would focus on the capping. Let's get some control. All right, so that's my action in NHL. I've got 4 plays, and yes, I should have waited on the Kings, but I really thought it would turn at some point. I got the Kings at minus 105 at 5 dimes. Let's see what I would get them right now. Let's go to money lines. If I took the LA Kings right now, there's a plus out there, a plus 101 at Pinnacle, a plus 100 at 5 dimes. So I would have got, 5 cents better or 6 cents better. So with that being said, I've doubled up on these 2 games, and I like them a lot. In fact, I really like the Jets Montreal spot. I think that's just a great spot to be on. Jets plus 130 and the under 6.5 at minus 115. And then Kings and the Jackets, Kings under. And I tell you what, within 2 weeks, or let's say by February 1st, there'll be 5s in all Jackets games. 5s. not 5.5s. All right, there is the NHL card. We have 9 minutes to start working on the NBA card before we are joined by Teddy Covers. Let's get to work. Rafa, can you pop up this NBA record that took a hit on Friday? 0-3 on Friday. And that was a minus 120 on the player prop. Oh, God, that hurts. All that hard work going away. There's Dimitrios Devos in the house. Great to see you, Dimitrios. Repula Gaming ready to get to work. Let's talk NHL. NBA right now. We are going to start here with the Thunder at Sixers. Very, very, very interesting game here. The Thunder are playing exceptionally well. Now 5 games over 500, just 1 game under 500 on the road. They've won 5 straight. They've won 9 out of 10. Let's see what the market is offering us. Sixers open up at minus 6.5. There's still a 6.5 at Bookmaker. Minus 7s everywhere else. This total opened up at 213. Now we see some 212.5s and a 212. But interesting, Pinnacle has not moved from the 213 at all. They've not moved from the number. There has been a 7-cent move towards the under. All right, Dan Kelly, full game Boston Celtics team total under. That is a must. Copy and paste right there. A must. All right. Alex Simeon leaning to the under in this Philly OKC game. Datfire TV liking the Celtics. Jermel Wright liking the Sixers full game under. Sixers are an angry group. It was very interesting, Teddy's breakdown of the Sixers in that game against Houston, saying he wants nothing to do with the Sixers with the comments that are coming out of that locker room. Lamont Williams on OKC plus 7 and solo team total over. Dylan Turner says OKC got to have a letdown point at some point. Got to have a letdown at some point. I think 76ers get right tonight. I'm going to copy and paste these looks. And Ben Sports 24/7 coming in with his college basketball. Thank you for sharing that with us. Ben Sports Picks 24/7. All right, going to copy and paste that. Viper MB says Sixers defense at home is excellent. Lean OKC team total under. Is Kemba Walker in? We expect him to be in the lineup after missing 2 games with the flu. We're going to get to that game shortly. Dylan Turner, again, 76ers get right tonight. Looking to snap a season-high 4-game losing streak. After what we saw with them on Christmas Day, we thought, is this team going to go on a major run? It's been quite the opposite. Ben Simmons took a lot of heat for not taking open jump shots against Houston. He goes for 29 points, 13 boards, 11 assists, but they lose by 10 points. James Ennis, who helps very much off the bench, was sick in that game. It's unclear if he's going to be available this evening. And the OKC is rolling. Easy win Saturday at Cleveland, 121-106. They're getting balanced scoring. Our guy Shai from the 6 keeps rolling. Schroeder goes for 22, Shai for 20, Gallinari for 19. Steven Adams gets 16 boards. Nerlens Noel suffered a sprained left ankle. Their bench has been very good, and he had to leave the game. It's unknown if he'll be able to play against his team. And Paul Costa says Kemba's out. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Coys Moore said, taking a spiritual break from social media and betting for 21 days. I wish everyone the best of luck on catching tickets. Stay blessed. Coys Moore, I hear you. Sometimes that is needed. And just know that we will be here when you return with open arms. Our guy Coys Moore. Stu Kale saying Kemba is out. And Jermel agreeing with Kemba is out. And Rye Cape says, I don't trust the Sixers right now. They're playing sloppy basketball. Viper MB says, Schroeder points prop over. I've been eating. I get always a little nervous when I take points props against the Sixers when the Sixers are at home. They can D up. They can D up quite well. I've not made a move, but I can understand why you guys are mainly backing the Thunder, other than Dylan, who thinks the Sixers get right here. And look at that. Dan Kelly, full game Wizards plus 355. Wow. Going to move that. And just a little note from the forum. And for the contest, those of you in the contest, the NHL contest page is fixed. Good, because when I went to put my action in, they didn't have the 2 games I wanted to play. So I'm happy that they're back in action. All right, let's keep rolling. I've made no bets so far in NBA. Let's move on to the next game on this card. Lamont Williams says looking at Bucks Spurs over 229.5 and Charlotte Indiana under. Charlotte Indiana under. Let's get into that Charlotte Indiana game because I feel like it's a very interesting spot as well. Going to copy and paste those looks from you guys. All right, let's talk about it. Pacers, Hornets. Let's see what the market is offering us here. Indiana opening up at -5. It's been -5 across the board. A dangerous number without Malcolm Brogdon in the lineup. And Charlotte had lost 6 in a row. They've now won back-to-back road games. The last one in very impressive fashion, 123-120 over the Mavericks in Dallas. I know that's a Mavericks team without KP or Hardaway Jr., but still impressive. And I wonder if this is a letdown spot for them. They've lost 4 straight at home. This total at 209.5 down to 208.5. Going to quickly paste the NBA action from our guys here, so I can go over all these notes this afternoon. And go. And America, there's an NHL contest every month. Every month, my man. We need you in them. We need you in them. In fact, at some point I'll drop the link here, but we need you in the NHL contest. Okay, let's roll. So. Hornets coming off that big win. Rozier and Graham are playing so well. Rozier goes for 29. Graham goes for 27 and 13. But again, Charlotte, sorry, I think I said 4. They've lost their last 3 home games. Pacers have lost 4 of their last 5. They give up 41 to Trae Young. They lose Saturday night in Atlanta, 116-111. Brogdon did not come on the trip. They've lost their last 4 road teams. And they smashed the Hornets last time they played them. Paul Costa says Charlotte let down spot. And Astute Chaos saying Philly has a tendency to push the pace at home. Jamel Wright says Pacers defense on the road is terrible. Charlotte shoots tons of threes. I like the over. Joey Harb in the house like in Utah, -2.5. There's Big Ragu ready to get to work. And Astute Chaos leaning towards Chicago-Dallas first half over. Let's move on to the Celtics-Wizards game. Celtics have won 8 of 9, and teams are coming into Washington fat and happy, not respecting this Wizards team with all the injuries they're dealing with, and the Wizards keep beating foes and beating them soundly. They beat the Heat 123-105 on December 30th. Then they beat the Nuggets 128-114 on Saturday night. They're doing this without Beal, Hachimura, and Bryant. Troy Brown going off. He goes for 25 and 14 off the bench. In that win over the Nuggets, Washington starters go for 36 points. The reserves go for 92. Ish Smith comes out of nowhere for 32 points. Arthur May Jr. says, do you like Colorado Avalanche over, under 5.5, or Colorado team total 2.5? I'm very uncomfortable with that game. You have a very angry Islanders team that plays very tight defensively. And there's a couple great notes in the chat. I think was it Paul Costa? I think it was Paul Costa that said that it's possible a Varlamov revenge spot, which I agree. Lamont Williams, thank you for stopping by, my man. Good luck at work, and I've copied and pasted all of your action. Thank you for sharing it with us. Wish us the best. Mitch Bruner says, interested for whatever the NHL contest is. All right, let's get it then for you guys quickly here, because we have 2 minutes before we're joined by our guy Teddy Covers. Sure, here is the NHL contest. We do them every month. Here you guys go. Get in it and get after it. There we go. Copy and paste it. There we go. Stu Cass says, I'm going to the Boston-Washington game with my nephew. His Boston fan, so it's bad blood. I love it. Dylan Turner says, you never know what you're going to get in the Wizards game. Says, will never bet on them again. Jamal Wright says, Celtics play defense no matter the competition. Jalen and Tatum are balling. Celtics with the points. Interesting. Dylan Turner, I love that you had Team Canada there. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I had a lot of friends there in Europe, and I see a bug in my water. Is that good luck? I had a bunch of friends over in Czech watching that game, and I guess a sickness went through all the Canadian fans. So every bus that showed up at that gold medal game was missing like a third of the Canadian fans who were puking their guts out. Very sad. But big win for Team Canada. Wizards Celtics. This is a very interesting spot, and if Teddy Covers is ready to go, there's no reason to keep him on the bench. Let's get him right out here, because I need help breaking down this NBA card. 9 games on it. We have a lot of work to do, and we need to get as much out of Teddy as possible. Teddy Covers, my guy, welcome to the show. Monday morning, coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. How you doing on this Monday, January 6th, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good today. Jimmy had a good weekend, so I have no complaints, and all good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I had a lot of futures going into the wild card action, and again, it's just these trends. Under, just keeps happening. Not only in the wild card, but in the playoffs, and then the road teams keep covering. I want to talk NBA badly, but what were your takeaways from wild card weekend?
Good games, you know. So I cashed with Houston in a game that was excruciating, as we all know. That game was, I wrote Texans Bills in 4 words for a Houston guy is dead, live, winner, oh shit, because you thought you won the game and then you didn't, and then you end up winning an OT. That was stressful as hell. Nonetheless, I thought Houston was the better of the two teams, and Watson was insane down the stretch of that game. You got to give. I mean, I don't take anything away from Buffalo, and I'll give the Texans credit for taking a punch and punching back. Saturday night, I had Tennessee, and we talked about it last week. I did not believe in the Patriots. I still don't believe in the Patriots, and I was glad I didn't believe in the Patriots. So that one worked out just fine. Yesterday with the Saints and Vikings, and I'm going back and forth on this. How much Minnesota good, how much New Orleans bad. It certainly affects the thought process about how we're going to approach Vikings 49ers this weekend. And I'm pretty sure it was a mix. There was a lot to like from Minnesota. That being said, New Orleans left the door open for them and didn't play a particularly good game. And then obviously the nightcap yesterday, which, on a list of wacky games over the weekend, it wasn't the wackiest one. Great for underbettors. Anyone had an under 4-teamer loved that when Carson Wentz got knocked out early. I mean, the Eagles' offense with McCown is not the Eagles' offense with Wentz. And Philly, I mean, they didn't have a lot left in the tank yesterday. All that said, I wasn't particularly impressed with the way Seattle played the game, and I've got my concerns about the Seahawks moving forward.
I do too. I do think that Carroll played it so conservative, knowing that there was a very small chance the Eagles were going to be able to get into the end zone. But I agree, they did not show very much. I would like to close this show out with us talking a little bit of your looks moving into this divisional round. But
sure.
We are talking NBA right now. Have you got to the window with any NBA action, Teddy?
I made one NBA bet, and I'm probably going to make a second one. But the one I made, it stood out to me like a sore thumb. That's OKC +7 against Philly. We bet against Philly on Friday. We're going to bet against Philly. Philly's a bet against team right now. OKC's not a bet against team right now. OKC's a bet on team right now, and they're catching 7 in Philadelphia. So I understand the spot. Sixers off 4 straight losses, yada, yada. I don't like any quotes coming out of that Philly locker room right now. And OKC, all they're doing is hanging tough and rallying back and winning games and covering point spreads. They've been a strong character team this year. So I do like the Thunder +7 in Philadelphia tonight. That one stood out to me like a sore thumb. The one I'm going to pull the trigger on, and I have a bunch of leans on this card. I may end up betting more. But the one that I expect to pull the trigger on when we get off air, now the 3.5s are starting to pop. Yeah, I'm going to take New Orleans +3.5. I was waiting for the 3.5s. I thought we'd start to see them, and we're starting to see them right now. Against Utah, I got nothing bad to say against Utah. But Pelicans are bet on all the way right now. I mean, they were dead. I cashed a dead wrong ticket with them on Friday in LA against the Lakers, +10.5, and they lost by 10, and it was a game that they got crushed and still covered. They've won, 5 of 6, 6 of 8? They're in every game. And the quotes coming out of that locker room are, we like each other. We're only 3 games out of a playoff spot. We got Zion coming back. Let's go, let's go, let's go right now. I got a big buy sign on New Orleans. They made me a little bit of money, and I think they might make me more. So at 3.5. And again, I got nothing bad to say against Utah. I don't love the spot. They won 5 in a row in the midst of a long East Coast swing. It's a little bit of a fat and happy situation here for the Jazz. And the Pelicans gave them everything they could handle in the first meeting. They hung 120 on Utah's D. I wouldn't be surprised they do that again tonight. I'm expecting a tight game there, and I think New Orleans is live to win it. So I took the Pelicans plus the points in that one. Or I'm about to take the Pelicans plus the points in that one. My apologies.
Pelicans +3.5. Ski Profit joining us as well. Great timing from Ski. Says, agree, Pelicans are bet on, but so are the Jazz. Dylan Turner says, I like the Jazz. I read those quotes as well, and I do think that Lonzo Ball will be licking his chops if he gets to go up against Inglis, who's now become the primary ball handler, at least with the injury to Conley. I can understand that. Look, we talked when we started breaking down that Sixers game, we talked about your breakdown of the Sixers on Friday and the quotes out of the locker room and how you were bang on that one. So I can understand that look, but I am hesitant a little bit hesitant with the Thunder playing so well and the Sixers on the 4-game losing streak, but I get it. Dan Kelly making a move on Sixers first half right now. Let's talk about some of these games that we haven't fully hammered. There is no Kemba Walker in the lineup tonight, still dealing with the flu, and the Wizards keep surprising teams. They keep surprising big favorites who come in very confident and get shut down here. Is there a move to be made on these Wizards? They open up at 8.5. That's where they stand right now. What do you think about this Celtics-Wizards game, Teddy?
There's a couple of things to talk about here, and I'm not even close to making a move on this game. Not a chance. I don't want the price isn't right with Boston, and so the Wizards are doing this at home against. They've done it a handful of times, but there's two things that are definitely worth noting. One is they're not doing it against the really good defensive teams, and the Celtics are that, and generally. And two is that they're not doing it in consecutive games. Wizards have a good game, great. And then the next one, not so good. I don't want Washington off a big blowout win, I can tell you that. I am interested, if I had to play this game, and again, this total, with Kemba's being out for this one, it's not going anywhere. It's sitting at 226. If I had to play it, every Wizards game has over potential. Okay, doesn't matter who's in the lineup. They're running, they're pushing pace, they're playing extraordinarily fast. That's their MO. They're cashing overs. The offense is clicking. I would lean over in that one before I got involved with the side. I don't trust Washington to do it twice in a row. And you're not getting any bargain prices here with the Celtics. In this one, Boston's happy to win this one by a couple of field goals and move on to the next game. So over is a lean.
A lean towards the over. Let's move on to this Brooklyn-Orlando spot. This total opened up at 211. It's now 211.5 for 212. Again, when I say open up, I'm using Pinnacle openers. Orlando Magic opened up as 4.5-point favorites. They're now 5s across the board. Nets pace last 5, 6th in the NBA at 101.78. Atkinson wanted them to speed it up. That's what they're doing. Magic still lower 3rd in the NBA in pace in the last 5 at 21st in the association. Nets are coming off getting destroyed in the fourth quarter by the Raptors. They've been doing that consistently. They're allowing opponents to shoot 46% in the last 5 fourth quarters, 53.9% in the last 3 fourth quarters. They're now back to 2 games under 500. Again, they haven't been 2 games under 500 since they were 6-8. Dinwiddie keeps playing well, but again, it looks like he kind of wears down come the fourth quarter. Orlando enters 9 losses over the last 14 games, coming off a 109-96 home loss to Utah. They were also beaten up in the fourth quarter in that game. Terrence Ross is stepping up. Vucevic is playing well. Aaron Gordon is just nowhere to be found. What do you think of this spot, Nets Magic, Teddy?
Aaron Gordon's a stiff. He's not. I'm not an Aaron Gordon fan. I'll just put it that way. And if you look at why Orlando's been stuck in this mediocrity, mediocrity might be giving them too much credit. Why they've been stuck as a sub-500 club in recent years. Look at no further than Aaron Gordon's development or lack thereof. A guy who they put a lot of resources in and who hasn't, at any point in his NBA career, looked to me like a guy who's going to be an impact player on this level. And they're at the point now that if he's not, maybe it's time to go bye-bye. My initial gut reaction for this is let's keep fading the Nets. Let's keep fading the Nets. Let's keep fading the Nets. I don't know. And then the more I thought about it, the less inclined I was to actually do that. The Nets are, they're coming. I mean, you talked about the fourth quarter against the Raptors. That was particularly ugly, and they've had some ugly losses of late. We're an Atkinson fan. They're not going to have LeVert again tonight. He's back out of the lineup with a rest day here for Brooklyn. Maybe that helps them. Orlando is a team I struggle to lay points with. Laying points with the Magic is not their role. Home favorite is not their role. And I think that fading the Nets is there's worse strategies out there than fading Brooklyn right now. But all the money came for Orlando from the opener, and they haven't been good chalk. They're not a team that I really trust to lay points. And the quotes coming out of Brooklyn, coming out that miserable fourth quarter. You have a team that's getting blown out again and again, it's one thing. You have a team that's in these games and they're having these bad fourth quarters. Eventually that turns around. And sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot of time. I mean, Orlando hasn't been that bad as a favorite this year. They're 500 ATS laying points. The Nets have been real good dogs, especially shorter dogs. I got them, 9-2 ATS catching 7 or less. So this has been their role. Big dogs, they haven't been any good. Shorter dogs, they've been much, much better. Initial lean towards towards Orlando, and I just talked myself out of it. Pass for me at the current price.
Yeah, it is a tricky spot. I'm getting very close to pulling the trigger on the Sixers early in that Thunder game, even doubling up first quarter, first half. Very close to doing that. Let's keep rolling along, Teddy. Next up, Nuggets, Hawks. The Nuggets just consistently play down to the level of competition. Here, they're 8-point road favorites. They're just 9-7 on the road this year. Hawks 4-12 at home. But the Hawks have beaten this Nuggets team twice in a row, and that's got to be on the mind of these Denver Nuggets. Hawks pace last 5, 8th in the NBA. Nuggets pace last 5, 23rd in the NBA. It's the 8-point favorites. This total opened up at 220 and shot up to 222. Hawks won the last two meetings, as I said, 125, 121 in November 12th in Denver, and they've won 9 of their past 11 against Denver in Atlanta. These are shocking. I'm saying this out loud. And the Hawks are coming off a 116-111 win on Saturday over the Pacers at home. Is that the Pacers playing really badly without Brogdon? Or is that the Hawks stepping up without John Collins with a lower back injury, Jabari Parker with a throat infection, and Cam Reddish out with a wrist injury? Trae Young goes for 41. Young is rolling right now. Kevin Huerter also career high 26. And the Nuggets coming off that embarrassing loss to Washington. Jamal goes for 39 and they lose by 14. And they're getting production from Michael Porter Jr. right now. Do the Nuggets come back and smash the Hawks after that very disappointing loss in Washington, Teddy?
Maybe, but the price isn't right here for Denver. The initial thought process is, sure, Denver's going to come and kill them. They lost at home. They're coming off a bad game. It's Atlanta's coming off a win, et cetera, et cetera. But that's priced into the number in this one. You know what I mean? There's no point spread bargain here whatsoever on the Denver side at 8.5. That's, a little bit tough. Now, the Nuggets haven't been great ATS off a loss. Or some team, Miami, catch ticket with Miami yesterday. They've been money off a loss. Denver hasn't been that. And defensively right now, the Nuggets are struggling. They're giving up $110 in each of their last, 7 games, which is not what we expect from Malone team. They're cashing overs, again and again, obviously during this span. 7-1 of the over in their last 8. We know Atlanta wants to play fast. We know Atlanta's not a defensive-minded team. We know the Nuggets aren't playing defense the way they had been. Maybe look at the over in this one. Sidewise, I have no interest whatsoever.
I get it. A lot of looks coming in from the chat. Viper liking Murray points over. He's rolling right now. Dan Kelly adding that Nets Magic under 212 to his card. I'm close to making a couple moves, and I do like that under quite a bit as well. Dan, I'm close to making a couple moves. All right, we've already heard from Teddy that he's backing the Pelicans against the Jazz, which takes us to this Bucks-Spurs spot. Second meeting in 3 days. The Bucks beat San Antonio on Saturday in Milwaukee, 127-118. That score flattered San Antonio. The Bucks were up 19 in the fourth quarter. Antetokounmpo goes for 13. Bledsoe goes for 21. Middleton goes for 20. Lopez 14. Ilyasova 11. Lopez 10. DeMar DeRozan goes for 26 for the Spurs. They were playing without DeJounte Murray, who missed the game for personal reasons. Lonnie Walker stepped in his place. Bucks, Spurs. Let's see what the market is telling us at sportsbookreview.com. Milwaukee opening up at 7.5. Now it's 7. This total at 229.5 down to 228.5 or 228. Teddy, Bucks, Spurs.
So my lean here is home dog. And I mean, this is NBA capping 101. The team, when the teams play back to, against each other in back-to-backs, you take the team that lost the first meeting in the rematch. And that strategy has, time tested and solid. And especially when we talk about the NBA, where the level of effort from one game to the next does vary. The team coming off the loss in a head-to-head series is often a good in the rematch, especially with Milwaukee now starting to struggle to cover some of these numbers. Single-digit victories each of the last 2. And I don't know if it's that meaningful. The Bucks are not, and let me say, this is a lean. Okay, I did not get to the win every time. This happens often enough. When I'm considering a bet against the Bucks, I tend to talk myself out of it. And this is one of those bets, and especially Milwaukee on the highway. I'd much rather lay this price with the Bucks on the highway than add another 7 points and lay with them at home. Or whatever it is. I mean, it was 11.5 over the weekend, and now it's 7 here. So it's not 6 points or 7 points, but you understand the con. I'd rather lay single digits with Milwaukee on the road than double digits with Milwaukee at home. Their play isn't negatively affected on the highway. The Spurs have been making money for their backers. They've had some ugly losses. They haven't been blowing teams out, but they've actually been a team that has legitimately gotten better in recent weeks. And you say they were lucky to get underneath the number against the Bucks. They were in that game. Both teams had their share of runs, and Milwaukee's run came late. But I watched the second half of that game, and San Antonio was in it. And the Bucks went on their run, and they almost put them away. But I thought the Spurs were competitive enough. And you read the post-game comments, and they're interesting tonight. Lean San Antonio. Don't know that I get there, but I do lean Bucks.
Lean San Antonio.
Lean
Dylan,
Spurs, I should say.
Oh, yeah, lean Spurs. Dylan thinking the same way, Dylan Turner, in our chat. All right, let's move on to Bulls Mavericks. We got 2 games left on this card. Then decisions will have to be made. We still have 13 more minutes with Teddy, so no need to panic. We're going to get into college basketball. We're going to get into college football, and we're going to talk NFL as well. This total opened up at 216.5. It's now at 217 across the board. Dallas opens up at 9.5, and that's where it stands now. There is a 10 at Pinnacle and a 10 at Heritage. Both teams' pace has slowed down a bit. Bulls last 5, 17th in the association. Mavericks 19th. And Dallas coming off that disappointing loss in overtime to Charlotte on Saturday night. Luka goes for 39, 12, and 10. Porzingis won't play. Hardaway with his knee injury. Hardaway with his hamstring injury is listed as questionable. When those guys aren't in the lineup, it's all Luka all the time. And maybe that's where we should be looking just for Luka props here. Chicago seems to be playing well in the first half. I've not been... there was a couple spots when I almost doubled up on them. First half in full game, and then I got cold feet. Only took the full game. They covered the first half and lost badly in the full game. They're getting Chandler Hutchinson back. They're coming off that 111-104 home loss to the Celtics on Saturday night. Remember, that's the Celtics team without Kemba. Is this too many points for Dallas without KP and possibly getting Hardaway back? Should we be looking at Luka props here? Teddy covers Bulls Mavericks.
I'm worried about Luka, man. You read some of the quotes from the locker room about Luka. He's banged up. He's taking hits. Carlisle's worried about managing his minutes right now. So I know that Dallas is not a team that I want to lay this price with tonight. They haven't played their best ball of late. They are very banged up, and they're talking about how they're banged up, and that's always a concern for me. And the Bulls are a really hard team because they're feisty and they're good enough to beat squads. Chicago's not hopeless. I think they're underachieving. There's a difference. But they find ways to collapse in these games, and when they collapse, it's ugly. The opposing teams, it's always a 14-2 run and Boylan calling timeout. And you worry about that happening here against the explosive Dallas offense. If I had to play the game, I'd take Chicago plus before I laid with Dallas tonight. And again, 9.5, you have enough room that the Bulls can at least collapse a little bit without everything being a disaster. But Chicago in cheaper point spread ranges in this one has been a difficult take for me because, they are finding ways to lose games on a pretty consistent basis. Lean Bulls, they're on the short list, but I did not pull the trigger, and I don't expect that I will.
I kind of took Carlisle's comments as, we see it so much in NBA and NHL, just a coach wanting to get more calls for his star player, trying to get that in the ref's head, get in his head. Maybe I kind of took that the wrong way. Maybe he is getting beaten up, but I just took that as, Carlisle trying to get the refs to give Luka the benefit of the doubt when he goes flailing. But I hear that breakdown, and the Bulls have cost me money lately, so I'm hesitant to get back on the wagon with them. We have one more game on this card, and it's Warriors-Kings. This total opened up at 211, now up to 215.5. We know that D'Angelo Russell is on the trip to Sacramento, so it looks like he'll be in the lineup after a 3-game absence with the shoulder injury. Draymond Green may be getting a rest day here. Kerr says he's dealing with fatigue, so he may be getting a rest day here. We'll have to see. The Kings have lost 9 of 10, coming off that heartbreaking loss on Saturday when J.J. Redick got that layup with 1.1 seconds left. That's the 7th loss of the season by 3 or fewer points, most in the NBA. Hoping to get Bogdanovich back, who's been dealing with the flu. Bagley remains out of the lineup, and the Kings beat up on the Warriors last time they met. That was in San Francisco last month. Warriors only put up 79 points. It was the best defensive effort for the year by the Sacramento Kings. And the Warriors have now lost 4 games in a row, coming off the 111-104 loss to the Pistons on Saturday night. That was on the heels of a 99-84 loss at Minnesota on Thursday night. Teddy covers Warriors-Kings.
Oh, this is the easiest game on the board. Good, whichever side you want, talk yourself out of it, okay? My info says Draymond Green sitting tonight. I don't think D'Angelo Russell's going to play tonight. In fact, my status is showing him as out, although that's been wrong before. But I don't want the Warriors without Green. I don't want the Warriors. I don't want the Warriors without Green, as you know. And it's not like they're playing well, and I'm certain that Sacramento, like they beat them up last time, all they want to do is beat Golden State and all of that. This is not a Golden State spot, in my opinion. And they're a bad team in a bad spot equals no Warriors bet for me. So the other choice is laying 10.5 with Sacramento, which I ain't going to do. I mean, you can. They killed them last time. But then the info I have is Bogdanovich is doubtful today. And he's so huge for the kid. He is one of those players. I'm always on the lookout for the guy that doesn't really affect the point spread, but they're a whole lot better when he's on the floor and a whole lot worse when he's off. And Bogdanovich has been a difference maker at times this year for the Kings. His absence, without him, not that I'm going to lay 10.5 with Sacramento anyway. Without him, I'm definitely not laying 10.5 with the Kings team. That they win this game by a point, they're thrilled. Pass for me, easy pass.
I'm going to pull the trigger after all this great insight from Teddy, all this great insight from the chat. I'm going to make a move on 2 plays. We do have a question we have questions coming in. One is Sports Have Ball says, can you ask Teddy if he includes court changes when handicapping NBA? When a team has 10 or more court changes in a row, and same question for me in NHL, and I can answer that too. But Teddy, I am on the Sixers first half -4, -110. It's available bookmaker. That's a Dan Kelly spot. I'm also going to look at lock in another Dan Kelly spot, which is the under in Brooklyn, Orlando. I like unders in Orlando. What do you think of question from Sports Have Balls, Teddy?
It's an excellent question. It's an excellent theory. Absolutely. When you're talking about court changes, it's a cumulative effect. It's not like, all right, well, you play. Basically, what it means is when you're in a situation where you have teams that don't get any extended homestands and they're just bouncing. You don't get a rhythm. When you find teams, as you talked about, that 10 or more court changes in a row, I'm going to track, because different squads take it different ways, but I absolutely pay attention to which teams have it at any chance to find a rhythm, any chance for normal practice, any chance for the coach to install anything new. And when you have the teams that are court change after every game for 10-plus games, it does wear them down. And when you start to see teams like that fade, they're bet against every game until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I agree completely. Those who followed me for the last 3 years here at SBR, I have this sweet spot, game 4 of a 6-game homestand. I absolutely love that spot. I've got this very high ROI on it in both NBA and NHL. Court changes, basketball, when you're going from rink to rink to rink, it's very difficult. We talked about that with this hedge I'm about to make in the Pacific Division. And at this point, wanting to wait for the Knights to go through that 8-game road trip that starts out in about a week. So I agree, and that was a great answer from Teddy Covers. All right, so I've added this under 212.5 full game in Nets Magic. I don't expect that's going to be available now that we don't have a late show, so I don't expect that's going to be available in a few hours. And I took the Sixers first half, -2.5 first quarters. Historically, I have a poor ROI on that, anything over 2. If a 2 becomes available, maybe I pull the trigger. But needing a 3-point win in the first quarter I'd rather take the first half. So I'm on those 2 spots right now, and I am interested in looking at a few more player props, so I'm going to spend the afternoon working on that. We have another look here from Dan Kelly. First half, Golden State, Sacramento over 110.5. God, I think that's another good look. Dan, I'm loving Dan's action in this show. We're very, very, very lucky to have him in our chat. I think that makes a ton of sense. There's some other stuff that I like that Dan Kelly is on. He's also on the first half Pelicans team total under 53. We're going to talk more about that. Teddy's on OKC +7 and Pelicans +3.5. All right, Teddy, let's go into college football. We got one tonight, and really only 2 games left. Unless you're counting James Madison, North Dakota State. Miami, Louisiana, Lafayette. This has been 14 for a while. We see some 14.5s on the board. Miami of Ohio, big dogs. This total opened up at 55.5 and is now 55 across the board. Teddy covers Miami of Ohio up against Louisiana, Lafayette.
I'm not making a move on this one. I'm really not that close to making a move on this one. If I had to do, I don't have to do something. I mean, I don't have to lean towards the over because I trust the Raging Cajuns defense. Louisiana Lafayette, they're good, okay? They're both sides of the ball. That's not a throwaway team. That's not a small conference. Don't worry about the Sun Belt. They're good, okay? That's why they're 2 touchdown favorites in this game. And I would not step in front of them lightly. All that said, Miami-O has this statistical profile that is based on games that didn't matter to them in September. That's still affecting the point spread. You know, they got bombed at Iowa, they got bombed at Cincinnati, they got bombed at Ohio State. They had 3 non-conference losses, and they were crushed in all 3 of those games. And you look at their season-long stats, and guess what? Those numbers still show because they got bombed so badly. And you look at their stats against other bowl teams, and those numbers stand out. And when you look at the profile sheets of, this team versus stepping up versus that team versus stepping up, Miami-O's numbers looked awful because of those 3 losses in September. And again, no shame in getting bombed at Ohio State. No shame in getting bombed at Cincy. No shame in getting bombed at Iowa in your opener. Since that time, Miami-O's been undervalued, and they've shown a lot of feistiness, and they've hung tough against quality foes. And, they're here for a reason. They're not here by accident. And they've been capable of pulling upsets. So I respect the Raging Cajuns, but I think the Red Hawks are the team that are a little bit mispriced in the markets. I think they're better than the markets give them credit for. So it's a hard game. No action. Sorry.
No action at this point. Big Ragoo's leaning towards Louisiana Lafayette. We talk, and Teddy talks as well about how much he loves this chat and all the capping that comes out of this chat. And I'm looking at everybody's plays right now, and I'm falling in love with 2 more of Dan Kelly's plays. I'd like to pitch him to you quickly before we go in the NFL. Dan Kelly's got 2 looks that to me make so much sense here, on top of the ones that I've already jumped on. He's on a full game Boston Celtics team total under, and the Wizards are fighting. Also, we have a spot where Boston is 8.5-point favorites with a total at 226. I'm going to pull up what my team total is right now for these Boston Celtics, Teddy, very quickly. But without Kemba Walker, which means you're going to see a lot more of Wanamaker, you're going to see a lot more of Marcus Smart, at running the point. And the Celtics team total is at 117.5. What do you think? That's at my book. What do you think about trying to get under that?
I got to be honest, I'm really not looking to bet Wizards opponents under their totals. You know what I mean? I mean, they're not playing defense, and they're pushing pace. And I think without Walker, Boston might play faster tonight. Walker's not a push the pace on every possession guy. He's a great half-court facilitator. I wouldn't and again, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but it's not something I'm going to bet. Not even close.
This first half team total over in Warriors Kings, it even without D'Angelo, it makes sense to me. It makes a lot of sense to me without Draymond, without defensive intensity. The first half over is higher than the full game because it's 110.5, full game's at 215.5. So, I mean, the first half's is higher than the second half total. What do you think about trying to get over this total without the defensive intensity that Draymond brings?
Didn't the first meeting between those two teams stay under by like 50 points?
Way under, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not willing to ask those two teams to do a whole lot for me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I won't talk you out of it, but those are not two teams that I trust to do anything on either end of the court.
I hear that. I hear that. I hear that, and it's good to hear both sides of the equation. I've already jumped on two of them, but I find that those two spots make a lot of sense to me right now. Expect the Celtics to get 118 against the Wizards. I mean, if we look at the Wizards' last few games, as you say, they have a good game, bad game, good game, bad game. I'm close to tailing them. Okay, we've got to make moves into college basketball. Are you making any moves on this college basketball card, Teddy?
Didn't even come close. There wasn't anything on today's college basketball card that stood out to me, even enough to do a thorough investigation. So you're gonna have to let Maxwell Smart guide you on college hoops today. I got nothing. I didn't come close to anything.
Max loves these mid to small schools. He absolutely loves them, so he's chomping at the bit. And then finally, Teddy, we wanted to touch everything with you. Your first feels, or have you got to the window anything on with this next batch of playoff games? We saw a move towards Tennessee. Pinnacle opened up that Baltimore at -10, and that was at +103. That's now at -8. Kansas City has been taking money. They used to open up at -8. They're now at -10 at Pinnacle. Again, that's at a plus line. And Green Bay sitting at -4. And Bookmaker has dropped the Niners from 6.5 to 6. They're the first book to do that. Is there anything that's caught your eye? Have you got to the window anything with NFL?
I have not bet anything yet. There's no urgency to. I do have leans, and their initial leans will let them settle for a day or so before we. I don't expect to make any moves today in the NFL playoffs. Unless, if something starts going nuts in the markets, maybe I will. But my initial leans are AFC overs in the two AFC games. Don't know that I get there. The money's coming the under for Tennessee, Baltimore, pretty heavy early on. And I can understand both teams want the long drives, but I don't trust either of those defenses to get stops in this matchup. I do think that's an over. And it's a similar story in Houston. I don't know that I get there in Houston, KC with that over. I think I'm more likely to get there. The Tennessee-Baltimore over really stands out to me. And the money's come under initially. And I'm worried about the fact that both teams want to go on, 14-play, 8-minute drives. I worry about that a lot. But I don't see either defense getting consistent stops in that game. I really don't. So Tennessee-Baltimore over, I do expect to get the window with. I may get there with Houston, KC over the total, although I feel like I have to respect the Chiefs' defense at least a little bit based on what they've done down the stretch. But, boy, that feels like a shootout, too. And in the NFC games, I'm leaning both favorites. So I'm leaning AFC overs and NFC favorites. And I haven't pulled the trigger on San Fran. I've gone a little bit back and forth on San Fran, Minnesota. Part of me thinks, we talked about the Vikings being a super dangerous 6th seed. And, you can make a legit case for Minnesota to make it all the way. Where everyone in the NFC ahead of them has some share of vulnerability. They really do. But, boy, Shanahan with extra time to prepare, that's something that I respect. And I don't know that Minnesota is going to get another game out of the defense like they had yesterday, where they were able to shut down Breeze. I don't know if they shut down Garoppolo this week. So I lean San Fran initially, and I lean Green Bay initially. How did Seattle win yesterday? They won yesterday because they faced a team with that had nobody left. There wasn't anything a lot good the Seahawks did, and they're still this is a situation where you have one team that's really banged up and off this series of exhausting, brutal games, and the other team's like, they've been chilling. I think my initial leans towards the Packers minus the points in that one.
Great stuff. Lot of fodder. We're going to talk about these games all week. And finally, we're going to ask Max's question as well. And we have very little time here. But Teddy, can you just touch on Paul Costa? Because we're going to ask this to Max as well. Says, Jimmy, please ask Teddy how he interprets 60% plus of the money coming in on West Virginia at -2 and the books still moving the line to a pick'em. I feel they are setting a trap. We know Max is going to be talking about this West Virginia game. What do you think about what Paul Costa's question is?
60% is nothing, okay? If you're worried about consensuses, 75% plus, okay? That's where you know the public is lined up. 60% is not enough, okay? What the money is telling you is that the wise guys like the home dog. That's it. Why you like, they like Okie State, and they're not even a home dog anymore. It's pick 'em right now. But when you're looking at consensus numbers, a 60% doesn't even move the needle for me, okay? 65% doesn't move the needle. I'm not even paying attention to that. That's happening on game after game. You start talking 75, 80% ATS, and everyone's on one side, then you can worry about playing some contrarian. But 60%, I don't even think about it.
I love it. Great answer. Teddy, thank you so much for sharing your hard work and insights with us. Follow this man at Teddy_covers on Twitter. Thank you so much. Let's have a big start to the week, my friend.
Hey, I'm trying, brother. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Best of luck tonight. Good luck out there, low baggers. Thanks for all the questions. Excellent. This chat's amazing. It really is. So have a great day, guys. Good luck tonight.
There he is, Teddy Covers. We go right from Teddy Covers to Maxwell Smart. Let's get this started. College basketball. Let's roll.
It wasn't until 2018 that the diamond in the rough went from hooligan to king of the world.
The guy couldn't play for shit, dog. He was awful. But can he cap? Yes, he can.
Maxwell Smart, my man, I know you love cards like this so much. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic, Jim. I am here with you. I'm here with the low baggers. I just watched Teddy Covers. I had an apple Danish for breakfast. It's a good day. It's a good goddamn day, Jim.
I love it. Let's get right to work. I love these smaller cards. I love watching you break down all these games. We're going to try to touch on all of them. Let's start looking at the looks that you've already locked in. I've been copying and pasting them. The first look you are on is Morgan State. How many people thought we'd be starting with Morgan State? That's where we are, up against South Carolina State. Morgan State opening up at -5.5. This total went from 144.5 to 143.5. You jumped on Morgan State at -5. The market has moved in your direction. Why are you backing Morgan State here this evening?
Yeah, this is a spot where I am a little worried about it from what I've watched of South Carolina State the last couple of games. But I do think that Morgan State definitely differentiates themselves when it comes to defensive basketball. I think that they guard the perimeter, they guard the three-point line better. I think that even though Dominique Applewhite has had some help from some of the other guys in the starting lineup like Zach Sellers, I don't think that Morgan State is going to come down to earth. I think that we're going to see a team that is able to, first off, have value with the number. I think that they have the potential to cover the number because I think that they're being still underpriced. And you just have to recognize that Troy Baxter Jr. has made a very big difference to this team. With Sean Devonish Prince and Stanley Davis, you have two pieces that are there in the system. It's just going to be about not fouling for this team. This team has good offensive bones. They shoot 48% from the field. They don't take a lot of threes. They get to the free throw line and make their free throws at a high enough percentage. This is a Morgan State team that I think that as long as they don't beat themselves, they win this game tonight and they cover by margin. When I look at South Carolina State, definitely a team that's been stingy, but at this number, there was value in Morgan State, and I think that the body of work also supported it.
Morgan State -5 at -109 is Max's first look on the card. Let's take another spot on the card. This one Max has doubled up on. He's doubled up on a couple spots. The next two games we're going to talk on those looks that he's doubled up on. First, Army. You are on Army plus 7.5. So Colgate opens up at -6. These are Pinnacle opening lines. I'll probably move over to 5 dimes in a second. Pinnacle's now moved Colgate at 7.5. Once it got to 7.5, Max pounced on Army. He's also on the under 143.5. That market move has gone with you. It's now down to 141.5. Max, Colgate Army. You're on Army and the under. Break down why.
Yeah, this Army team definitely is going to be based this play is based on what kind of contributions I think are going to be produced by guys like Lonnie Grayson. Lonnie Grayson coming off a 17-point game. This is an Army team that does have problems at the free throw line, but I do think in this matchup, they're playing a team that doesn't really shoot a lot of free throws. I don't think that's really going to come into play. They do shoot 59% in the last 5 games, making 11 a game, so that is a slight improvement. This is a team, however, that shoots 46% from the field. And when you have Matt Wilson and Tommy Funk to be your cornerstone pieces to score the basketball and run the offense, I think that you have necessary options to give Colgate different looks. Colgate obviously is very efficient when it comes to making threes. They hit 37% of them. They make close to 10 of them a game. That's going to be Army's difference. If Army can stop Colgate from shooting from the three-point line and making threes, I think that they can stay in this game. What I'm actually going to do, Jim, I'm actually going to triple up on this game, and I want to actually add Colgate as a first half bet. I think that Colgate has a significant advantage in the first half of games. We've seen them break down. They have, if you look at the box scores and you watch games, you've seen them play 4 or 5 very obvious tales of two halves, and you have to take that Cincinnati game out. This is a team with familiarity. These are teams that have played close games. There hasn't been a game between them that has been more than 3 points at Army. So Army's definitely played a lot tougher at home, and that's been second half comebacks. So Colgate first half, Army full game under, because I think that this is going to be a grinded out game, and this is not the same offensive Colgate team that won by 20 on their home court last year.
A triple up here by Max. He's on the Army under 143 minus 105. He's on Army plus 7.5 full game, and he's on Colgate first half. You can get a -4 at Pinnacle at minus 114, Max. Or, oh, wow, sorry. Just right now, it just changed. Heritage just opened up a -4. Oh, no, that's 4.5. So it's your call. You can get -4 at minus 114. And that's what I had given you, thinking you'd be on it. You get -4.5 at minus 110 or -5, or just between those two, yeah. 4.5 or 4.
Yeah, Jim, I'll take the 4 and take the extra 4 cents of juice.
All right, done and done. You've also doubled up on Grambling State. Also, we've got looks coming in from Raven in the Desert and David H. We're going to see how they correlate with Max's action. Thank you guys for sharing those looks with us. We also have Ben Sports 24/7's looks, which I love seeing as well. And we haven't got to any of those games yet. So, Max, next up, you doubled up on Grambling State, -8.5, minus 107. And you took the Grambling State under 139.5 and minus 110. Let's see how that has changed right now, moving from first half to full game. And here we go, Grambling State. So you got what did you get? You got 139.5 on Grambling. Right now, that's at 138.5 or 138. So you beat that. You got Grambling State minus 8.5. That's down to 7.5 at some books and 8. So some money coming in on Alabama State. Why are you on the under? Why are you back in Grambling State?
Yeah, so first on the under, this is a Grambling State team that, although Alabama State has poor defensive numbers, I think that Grambling State wants to get into conference play and really get deep and down on defense. I think that with Devontae Jackson at 6'9", 200 pounds, he's going to be very important in the front court to first off stay on the floor, to first off be a very good out and inside defender, because I think with Alabama State, you have to take notice that they do shoot a fair amount of threes, but they don't make a lot of them. They are shooting under 30% for the year. And when it comes to this Alabama State team, they're a team that struggles to get 60 points. I think that Grambling is head and shoulders a boss style type team. I think with Ivy Smith running the point with his 5.3 assists, he makes free throws at the end of the game. If it's a close game, which I don't think it's going to be, frankly, I think that this is a 20-point victory for Grambling. I think that they narrowed down on defense. They really locked down the 3-point line, and I think that they keep Alabama State off the free throw line. It's just a spot where the eye test supports it, my numbers support it, and the power ratings definitely support it.
There we go. Double up with Grambling. We've got looks coming in from Dana Delp. We've got looks coming in. So we've got everything together. Let's keep rolling right now. Guru said, I hear that right. He's on one side first half and then the other side full game. Yes, Guru. That's what he's doing with the Army Colgate spot. And Max does that often. Let's move on to your next look. You are on Troy plus 11. Troy going up against Texas State. Opened at plus 11.5. Now 11 at Bookmaker. 10.5 everywhere else. Why are you backing Troy here this evening?
Yeah, I think that this is just a spot where I think Texas State is being given too much credit. I think that Troy's coming off a very dysfunctional game where they were in it for the first half and then just got blown out in the second half by Lafayette. I think that obviously without Zay Williams playing a full game and only being limited to 10 minutes, I felt like that had an impact. I do think, however, that he does return to the lineup tonight. I just think that when I'm looking to back Texas State can be very one-dimensional offensively, with Nigel Pearson garnering a lot of the attention and taking a high percentage of shots. I think with Mason Harrell and Eric Terry, you have complementary pieces that are able to contribute. I just don't know about the consistency so far. Through conference play, Texas State has definitely been better in the first halves and just getting smacked around in the second halves. And I just can't trust a team like that to lay this amount of points. They only make 5 threes a game. They do get to the free throw line a hell amount of times, but this is a Troy team that's going to be able to get on the offensive glass. They're going to be able to distribute the ball quite well. They're going to be able to force turnovers, and they protect the rim. So at double digits, it was a spot and a number that, regardless of what the statistics say, it's a spot you have to take Troy, or you have to wait till you can get under double digits for Texas State.
There you go. There you go. Troy plus 11, now down to 10.5. I have joined Max on 2 looks so far. We'll see what else I'm adding. Morgan State minus 5.5 and minus 110. And then we've had Noli Knows come in talking about how the Grambling State, Alabama State is a dead under. And when he says that and Max is on it, I have a high ROI. Grambling under 138.5. D Summers, I'm so close. I tried to have it all done for today, but I'm so close to having Max's record all up to date. I fell a little bit behind through the holidays. So, and you guys see the quantity of plays he does. So it will be back in action, completely back in action this morning. All right, let's keep rolling along right now. The next look on your card is West Virginia. We had a lot of talk about this. Well, we had a question, and you were listening, posed to Teddy Covers from our guy Paul Costa in this spot, and wanted to hear why you are on West Virginia money line in this spot. Max, take it away.
Yeah, this is a West Virginia spot that I think that without having your point guard for Oklahoma State, that is going to play a significant impact against a pressure defense team that can turn it on and off. We're talking about the 4th and 5th best team in the nation when it comes to three-point D and field goal D. I think that West Virginia is definitely going to be playing a rock-style game tonight, and I just can't trust Oklahoma State to score the basketball against this defense. I think that you have really solid front court pieces, even though situationally you would think that there would be a letdown spot, but I don't see it as a Colorado-Oregon spot. I think that West Virginia actually comes out and has a more efficient game, because let's keep in mind, in the game against Kansas, Jermaine Haley, Derek Culver, and Emmett Matthews were a combined 3 for 20. So I don't think that's going to happen 2 games in a row. And I think that with Jordan McCabe hopefully getting some more minutes at the point guard, you're going to have a little bit more stellar, stable offensive production. And from a statistical perspective, these teams are quite even. I think that it's a matter of who gets out to a better start. And I think that's going to be pretty much the determining factor. Defense usually wins, and a team without their point guard, even though they've been able to play and win without him, it's just not a spot that I'm looking to get on the other side of.
All right, there we have it. West Virginia money line. Next up, Max, South Alabama. We're doing great pace-wise here. Let's keep this going. South Alabama, you got him at plus 8.5. It's now down to 6 or 6.5 against UT Texas Arlington. This total has gone down 3.5 points at Pinnacle and 5 dimes, 3 or 2.5 at other books. South Alabama, Texas Arlington, you're on the dog here. Why is that?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely been apparent that South Alabama has been not really playing up to the potential that we saw on paper. Don Coleman's not playing a lot of minutes. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to who is going to be garnering the majority of shot attempts, who the offense is going to get ran through. But I do think coming off such an embarrassing performance against University of Louisiana Monroe that there is value and was value, hence why I've laid it with South Alabama here. I think that South Alabama defensively is better than 45% from the field. I think that this is a team that knows how to get to the rim with Trey Mitchell and J.J. I think that it's going to really come down to what we get out of guys like Chad Lott and Andre Fox. And I think that in this matchup, without Michael Ertl going off for 39 points, University of South Alabama has a chance to maybe stay within 7 or 8 points. I think UTA definitely is talented. We've seen Brian Warren really change how he's played this year for more of a distributor. And it's hard to ignore David Azori and Jabari Narcisse, both do different things. Jabari's very defensively sound, protects the rim, gets on the glass. David Azori with a 3-point shot, looking to get on the perimeter and looking to score. And if these guys can stay on the floor and Texas Arlington can play solid enough perimeter defense, which we know they're capable of, it's just a matter of can they limit the fouling. If they have to go to the bench and they don't have their main key offensive defensive cogs out there for at least 30 minutes of this game, I personally think that South Alabama can win this game outright. I wasn't brave enough to lay it on the money line as of yet, but seeing the number go down to 6 or 6.5 doesn't make me feel too bad about it.
I like it, Max. I like it. The next spot and the final spot that you've already locked in, we'll go over the other games, is Prairie View A&M. You are not alone backing Prairie View A&M. Our very own David H. is on Prairie View A&M as well. And Raven in the Desert, another great capper, is on the other side of you guys. He is on Southern plus 9.5. Prairie View A&M opens up at minus 8.5. It's now up to 9 or 9.5. Why are you backing Prairie View?
Yeah, I think that with Devontae Patterson playing full-time minutes again, I think that this team is just going to show that they are head and shoulders at a different offensive level. I think that with Jared Andrus, you have a solid guy that will get to the rim. He can get on the glass. He's going to force a couple turnovers. And I think that when you see Prairie View, this is a team that has just tournament quality around them. I watch a lot of Prairie View basketball. I enjoy watching them. And I think that when it comes to their offensive game, they don't have a lot of three-point shooting, and I don't think that it really matters. I think that with their personnel, their best option is to take it to the rim, get to the free throw line, shoot volume free throws, shoot high percentage buckets. And I think that with Southern, you've seen them struggle to get to 60 points. I don't think that Prairie View is going to struggle to get to 75 tonight. I think that this is a game that they're going to take quite seriously. I think that it has to be domination in the SWAC, and I think that they're going to be able to take care of business tonight. I don't think that they're going to get beat on the offensive glass like a lot of people have said they will. I think that the ball distribution is going to be crisp, and I think that the turnovers will be kept down. This is a team that forced 18 turnovers a game. They get on ball handlers. They pressure you full court. They trap you. And I think that with the way that Southern has been offensively efficient from that standpoint, I think that's going to be the hindrance tonight. And I think that Prairie View takes care of this game by at least double digits. So at 8.5, I think it's cashable, and I hope that it lands on 9. So Raven in the Desert and I can both.
I hear you. And then David H., you, Raven Desert, you guys all cash. There is Max's looks that he's already locked in. We're going to talk about the other spots on this card. We've got to be quick. But he's on Morgan State -5, Army under 143, Grambling State -8.5, Troy +11, West Virginia moneyline, South Bama +8, Prairie View and A&M -8.5, Grambling State under 139.5, and then he Colgate first half -4, Army full game +7.5, going on both sides in that game. I've jumped on Morgan State -5.5 and the Grambling under 138.5. I'm close to getting on board with Troy, but I'm still kind of sitting on it. Let's talk about these other spots. Matt Randall, our guy and yours, whom we love dearly. Taint play of the day is in, Max. App State, Louisiana under 145. Matt waited till it got to its very highest point and then hammered the under. This total opened up at Pinnacle 138.5. It's now sitting at 144. What do you think of what Matt's done here, waiting for it to hit its highest point and then trying to get under it?
Well, the highest point was 147.
Oh, wow.
Just to point out. So,
wow.
The highest point was 147. This was a spot that I just didn't react fast enough, so I haven't got the best of the number, nor have I made a bet on it. I think that with App State, from a side perspective, it's really hard to lay points with them when they're 328th in the nation and only shooting 63.5% from the free throw line. And you know that if it's a coverable game, that's what's going to come down to. I think that both teams are both guard oriented, good. I think that App State is better defensively in the field. I think that ULL is going to do a better job of controlling the three-point line. With both teams being very guard-oriented, I think that it's going to be a matter of who gets off to a better start. I think that from a number perspective, ULL has the first half advantage. And it's just going to be really a matter of how they can limit fouling and if Cedric Russell can get off offensively. But the play that I want to make and add to the show is actually going to be ULL first half, Jim.
ULL first half. Quickly, our guy Poker Addicted 79, a.k.a. Piker. Piker, very interesting enough, Dan Kelly's on Wizards money line, a +330 or something like that. That should give you confidence. When Dan has taken a big money line dog, I've taken the points, and I've cashed every time. In saying that, I have yet to jump on the Wizards. So, take that with a grain of salt. First half, ULL. Let's get that for Max right now. Point spread, ULL. Here we go. And let's see what we're dealing with. First half, ULL opened up at +5. Now Pinnacle's taking that to 4, but I can give you a 4.5 at -115 or a 4 at 102.
No, I'll take the 4 at 102. I think that ULL stays in this first half. Maybe wins it outright.
ULL first half +4 at -102. Okay, Max, one of Ben Sports 24/7's leans is toward Coastal Carolina -8. Dana Delp has also jumped on Coastal Carolina -8. Louisiana Monroe, Coastal Carolina. What do you think here?
Yeah, it's an interesting spot. I think that you got to really take into consideration what you're going to get from ULM offensively on the road. We've seen this team be quite effective at home, but that's pretty much dependent on Michael Ertl. And I think that coming off a 39-point game, I don't expect him to be able to continue that. I think throughout Sunbelt Conference, which they've already played 4 games, we got a good perspective of how these teams are going to be different against familiar opponents versus the non-conference schedule opponents. I think that with Coastal Carolina, they do have a problem with starting fast. I think that it's really been a comeback type of situation, and that makes me worried about taking them full game. I think that the way that ULM has shot the ball 50%, 44%, and 70% from the line in conference season so far really also makes it stand out, because if you look at Coastal, they just haven't shot the basketball well. They are getting a lot of volume when it comes to attempts, but I just think that there's a couple points advantage for ULM. I don't think that I can lay Coastal Carolina, and I'm also looking to get on first half with ULM here. So I'm not making the play full game, but I will add ULM first half.
Okay, let's grab it for you right now. ULM first half, and that's the exact same situation where you have 4s at 5 dimes and Pinnacle, but you have 4.5s at -110. So I imagine the 4 is at -105. So you want plus 4.5 at -110?
Yes, please.
And you have it. Let's add that to Max. ULM first half plus 4.5 at -110. Sorry, move that here. There we go. All right, we have to be fast here. And next up, we have the Georgia Southern game. We're close to hammering all of them here, but we have to be very, very quick here. Georgia Southern is a look who I saw somebody that oh yes, David H. is backing Georgia Southern here this evening. Georgia Southern versus Arkansas Little Rock. Arkansas Little Rock opening up at -2, now -2.5. What do you think of this spot, Max?
Yeah, this is a real interesting spot because we've really seen Little Rock really step it up in conference season. I think that with Mon Young leading the conference in double-doubles, that's a pretty big accomplishment. Marquise Noel's leading the Sun Belt in scoring in 19.6 points a game. He's coming off a 29-point game. Kamani Johnson is definitely taking a step up in the sophomore year. He's probably one of the best big men in the Sun Belt, but I think that with Georgia Southern, this is a team that's been there, done it before. Ike Smith and Quan Jackson are going to lead this team. I think that Isaiah Crawley is a hard piece to keep away from the rim. I think that Georgia Southern does good work on the glass. I think by my numbers, they have a 5-point first half advantage. I'm going to jump on them first half. I think that Little Rock is a second half play to make live. 3-point D is going to be the deciding factor in this game. Georgia Southern makes 10 out of 30. Little Rock makes allows 7.5 out of 18. So from my perspective, I'm making the first half Georgia Southern official play, and I'm looking to make the full game live, possibly Little Rock second half.
Sorry, I was trying to focus there. Tell Phil 9. Phil 9 always has my back. Sorry. I've got you. I've got your first half. Do you want the +1 or 1.5, or would you rather go money line?
What's the juice on the 1.5? Because I haven't bet this yet myself.
Georgia Southern +1.5 is, I can give you -110.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, let's grab it. Georgia Southern. Sorry. Georgia Southern first half +1.5. Phil 9 always looking out for my best interests. Okay, let's keep going along. We're going to full game spreads and totals here. I don't know why that got me so much, because Phil 9's only ever said I believe in the bag. That's all he's ever said. I guess that's why it caught me. Okay, let's keep rolling. Norfolk State, Coppin State. We're almost on this whole card. Coppin State opening up at -2. Now Pick'ems. Pinnacle's moved Norfolk State over to the favorite. What do you think here, Maxie? What do you think here? Norfolk State, Coppin State.
Yeah, I played Norfolk State on the opener at +2. This is a Norfolk State team that I think that they just dominated Coppin State. It doesn't matter who's been wearing the uniform, they've just dominated. I think that with Jermaine Bishop and Joe Bryant Jr. and Stephen Whitley, you got solid offensive guard combinations. Kobe Thomas has been fantastic. He's been the most consistent offensive weapon for this Coppin State team. But I just think that even with my Canadian and our Canadian Torontonian Kamar McKnight, I think that this is just a bad matchup for them. I think that everything that Coppin State does poorly, shooting threes, making free throws, can come back to haunt them in this game. I think that we like Coppin State when they're double digits. We don't like Coppin State when they're laying points against a team that they haven't beaten in like 5 or 6 years. So Norfolk State was a play for me. I'm not going to make it official for the show because I got +2, and it'd be unfair to make it official at a minus number when I got it at the number I got.
Max, next up is Ben Sports 24/7's play of the day, Florida A&M and NCAT under. This total has been at 128.5 or 129. It hasn't moved down. What do you think of this spot in general? And North Carolina A&T opening up at -3.5 to where they stand.
Yeah, I saw that total open up at 124, so I really like the under now at 128. This is a team that NCAA that can start very poorly and slowly. This is a team that has not been a favorite at all this year. FAMU definitely, let's give them credit for the Iowa State win, but let's not take it in and be like, now they're godly. Rod Melton Jr. and MJ Randolph are good players, but I think that with Fred Cleveland and Ronald Jackson and Cameron Langley running the show, this is just going to be a familiar opponent that is able to take advantage of their weaknesses. I don't like FAMU as a small dog. I like them better as a double digit. The ATS numbers support that also. This is a spot where I think that they're going to struggle to get to 130. If this is a close game, it's going to be in the high 50s, low 60s. I think this game stays under. I'll make an official play, and I'll take NCAA on the first half.
Okay, let's do that for you, and then we got to put a bow on this interesting double up here, Max. So first half, NCAA, we're giving you minus what? Would you like minus 1.5 at minus 115 or minus 2 at minus 105?
Minus 1.5. I'll take the minus 115.
North Carolina A and T, first half, minus 1.5 at minus 115. And then you are also on the under. We have a couple more spots on this card. Oh, I guess Georgia State, Arkansas State, Alabama A&M, Jackson State, and the Bethune-Cookman Howard games are the only ones that we haven't hit yet. Are you making moves on any of those, Max?
Yeah, I want to make a move on the Georgia State game, and I want to make a move on the Alcorn Texas Southern game.
Okay, well, let's do it. Let's talk Alcorn State, Texas Southern right now. What's your move there?
Okay, simply, this is too many points for me to take Texas Southern. I'm taking Alcorn State. Alcorn State's been deadly efficient. They hit their free throws. They hit their three-point shots. Tremaine Crosby, Maurice Howard, Deshaun Andrews, I think that they can stay within it. I know that they weren't able to stay within the number in their last game. Simply, the numbers like it, and I'm going to jump on Alcorn. I'm going to take them plus 12.
Plus 12, Alcorn State plus 12. Let's grab that for you right now. While I'm grabbing that, Max, can you break down that next look that you wanted? Was on Bethune-Cookman, or was that it?
Yeah, it's on Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, let's hear it. What is it?
Okay, so Cookman definitely hangs their hat on winning on the glass and on 3-point D. But I think that if you don't get a contribution from guys off the bench like Joe French with his 3-point and free throw shooting ability, and 5'9" little guy Malik Maitland, who has been able to come off the bench and score, he has 4 to 7 last double-digit games. But I just don't know if this team can replicate it on the road. I've seen them be able to do good at home. And I think that Howard could be undervalued here a little. I think that Howard can keep it close early if they can limit their fouls, force turnovers and steals. With Wayne Bristol Jr., Khalil Robinson to go along with Charles Williams, I think that you have enough offense there to at least stay in the first half. So I'd like to take Howard on the first half.
Okay, and I'm just giving you Alcorn plus 12 at minus 110. And then we're going first half on Howard. Give me first half on Howard. And that leads us to the play of the day. And we got to put a bow on this show. Maxie, what is the play? First half, you can get plus 4.5, minus 105. What is your play of the day?
So the play of the day is going to be Georgia State. I understand that Arkansas State had a good non-conference season. They have a good ATS record. They don't make their free throws at a high enough percentage. You're talking about Georgia State, who's a 25 ranked team in the nation in three-point shooting, 5th in three-point defense. That is a key part of Arkansas State's offense from my estimations and from what I've watched. I think that throughout conference season, we've seen them already struggle early. And what I'm going to do in this game, Jim, I'm going to make my play of the day a goddamn double up. I'm going to take Georgia State first half and full game. I think that Georgia State is able to hit their threes. I think they're able to stop Arkansas State from guarding the three-point line with good penetration and getting to the free throw line. They're going to win on the offensive glass. They do a good job of distributing the ball. They're going to limit turnovers in this game. And this is a team that averages close to 12 steals a game in conference. I'll take Georgia State first half, full game, play of the day. I'm coming for a goddamn winner because Quinnipiac really pissed me off on Friday.
Max, you can get Georgia State -3, -105 full game. First half, you have to make a decision here. You can get -1.5 at -115 or -2 at -100.
-2 at -100.
All right, first half -2 at -100. All right, that is the play of the day. So I will be tailing the plays of the day. Ben Sports 24/7 and Max also on that North Carolina A&T under together. I'm going to jump on that as well. And I'm also going to jump on the Troy full game. Max, my man, we went a little long. You were awesome. Every single game Max broke down. Here we go. The Troy, I'm going to get +11. And -110, that's available at Bookmaker. So that 11 just got on the board. It was a good thing that I waited because we had to give Max. Oh, no, Max got the +11 as well. Max got in early. Okay, so in review, Max is on Morgan State -5, Army under 143, Grambling State -8.5, Troy +11, West Virginia moneyline, Southern Bama +8, Prairie View A&M -8.5, Grambling State under 139.5, Army -7.5, Colgate first half -4, ULL first half +4, ULM first half +4.5, Georgia Southern first half +1.5, North Carolina A&T first half -1.5, North Carolina A&T under 129, Alcorn +12, Howard +4.5. And Georgia State first half -2, full game -3. I tailed Morgan State -5.5, Grambling under 138.5, Troy +11, North Carolina A&T under 129, and I tailed the play of the day, Georgia State first half and full game. Max, stick around with us for a second longer. I've got to review a couple plays in NHL. I like this card, and usually I don't like these small cards. I doubled up on 2 games. I took the Jets moneyline +130 and the Jets under 6.5, Jets Habs at -115. Then I took the Kings moneyline at -110. I should have waited, or at -105 for show purposes. I bet -110, -105 5 times. I should have waited. Could have got 6 cents better. I'm also on the under 5.5 in this Jackets Kings spot. In NBA, I'm on the Sixers first half -4, and I'm on the under 212.5 in the Magic game. I'm also going to make a move on those 2 plays I was talking about that I've been sitting here humming and hawing with Dan Kelly. I like them and I want them. And those are the first half, Golden State over 110.5, and full game Boston Celtics team total over. I'm going to, I'm just going to grab them right now. So quickly, very quickly here, basketball. So for the Celtics team total that I'm getting here, at Bet365, team total is I'm getting 117.5 at -110. So let me grab that 117 under 117.5 at -110. And for the first half, let's grab the first half over in NBA, and then we're going to put a bow on this bad boy. First half, NBA, I'm taking the total here. I'm going to go over. This makes a ton of sense to me. It's opened up at 110. It's now 110.5. I can get it at -104 at Pinnacle. So over 110.5 at -104. That's at Pinnacle. There we go. So there is all my action. What a fun Monday. What a great job by the chat. What a great job from our special guests, Teddy Covers and Maxwell Smart. There's George Wood. What a great way to end this show. George Wood. I'm new to the show. Hello, George Wood. Thank you so much for joining us. Joey and Nisi saying thank you, Jimmy Max. Y'all appreciate it. You all appreciate it. Stick around here. We have J Money, jamming with J Money here in 17 minutes to break down the entire NBA card. Maxwell Smart, my man, thank you for all you do. Follow this guy on Twitter at Maxwell Smart 420. And Max, can you please leche us out of here, my friend?
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to be with you and the low baggers on this early morning, afternoon. And let's a los bookmakers.